I think I may have found the best solution for gaming on the MacBook Neo, and I can't believe I didn't think about it sooner. And it solves two issues, which is you don't have to worry about your own machine's graphical performance, and you don't have to worry about the storage on your machine being used up by all these games. Let me explain. So what I thought would be the best for the MacBook Neo is use a cloud gaming service like GeForce Now, and this is the reason why. When you're gaming on the MacBook Neo, although it might be capable, it's going to use your CPU, your GPU performance, and all of that stuff is great for a little bit of time. But once you start using it for a prolonged period of time, especially because the MacBook Neo doesn't have a fan, temperature is going to start to rise. You're going to get to the point where it starts throttling performance, which in return is then going to make your game slower and you won't be able to game anymore. Using a cloud gaming service like GeForce Now, for example, you don't actually use your own machine. You're only using the internet from your machine and a slight bit of CPU power. And then you're actually using the machine that's in one of these servers for all the graphical work. And on the machines, you can actually, if you've purchased the game yourself, you can load it up on there and you can play that game. They have free to play games as well. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to load up GeForce Now on the MacBook Neo, show you some of these pre-installed or free to play games that are already on there and show you the performance, see if it's a viable option for yourself. Something that you should know is, because I'm in Finland, GeForce Now doesn't seem to have a server anywhere around here. The nearest one is in Sweden. So my performance on my machine will be greatly different to the one on your machine. If you're in the US or UK or other countries, I'll show you on screen, you may have better performance when it comes to playing on the MacBook Neo through GeForce Now. Now, I am using the free service. So GeForce Now do have different tiers of services you can subscribe up to, but I figured free service is enough for what I'm trying to show you here. If you do end up liking it, it works out well for you, you can subscribe to the other ones. I don't think they're much, like 10 euros, 20 euros a month, something like that. So let's check it out. And I have my PlayStation controller connected to the actual MacBook Neo. So the first one I want to run is this Ghostrunner demo. So let's play that. And the thing is, you're going to notice up here looking for the next available rig, and it says gamers ahead of you 41. This is something to do with the free pass. Because I have the free pass, you get into a queue essentially with other gamers. And if you go up to the higher tiers, say the 10 euros a month or the 20 euros a month or whatever it may be, I think you get rid of the queue, so you get straight into games. But even with the free pass, whatever game I've selected, usually it's like a 1 minute, 2 minute wait max. So it's not that long at all. And all I'm really going to do is just play each game for about 5 minutes, just so you get an idea what the performance is like. So what I will do, I'm going to put up the GeForce Now overlay. Gives us an idea of the latency that we're currently getting and the frames per second. So I think it's Command G, and then statistics, we turn that on.
Can you hear me?
And it should show up in the right hand corner.
Relax. Your implants are still adjusting to the software. I'm in a prison. I can calibrate.
A trespasser spotted at metro station.
This is bad. You'll have to fight your way out of here. The air ducts lead to another sector.
So as you can see, we've got around 60 FPS, 59, but the ping is around 30 to 45, which is...
God. You can use acceleration while in the air.
The trespasser is in the air ducts.
Careful now. They'll be waiting for you. Initiating the sensory boost. Focus. Done, but you won't last long in this state. You have to get out of prison.
So that was the Ghostrunner demo. As you saw, the ping went up quite high. Sometimes it got into like 75 milliseconds, and you could definitely notice the lag, and it was quite a hard game to play with that kind of glitchiness. So something else we should try is maybe Fortnite, because a lot of people are probably going to be trying to play Fortnite. Let's see how that does. Something you have to know is with these games, so as you can see again, but Game is Ahead of You 44. With these games that you play online, like Fortnite, and are kind of like fast paced, you may have issues with them if you don't have that good of a connection when it comes to the internet. Like me, I mean, I have a good internet connection, but like I said, servers are quite far away from where I am in Finland, and with the closest one being the next country across, Sweden, you can imagine how the latency gets. If you are in other European countries, UK, or even USA or something like that, they tend to have quite a bit more servers in that area, so you may be better off. But let's test out Fortnite, see how it does. So as you can see with Fortnite, we are getting around 49, 54 frames per second, and the ping is jumping 95, 148. So this is definitely not going to be a good experience when it comes to playing the game, because we're only in the menu when it's happening. So let's give it a quick try. Single player, and I'll let you know how it actually comes out. One thing I will say is the visuals and the stuff of the games works really well. The games seem to work very well, but I think it's just the ping and the ping aspect is what's causing the delay in the game, making it seem slow, when in fact if you had good ping it would work actually pretty well. This will definitely not be playable at this ping, so the frames per second are dropping all the way from 25, 39, 45, 37. So yeah, this is going all over the place. I don't even think I'll carry this one on, just because I don't think there's any point. So yeah, Fortnite, we're not gonna carry on. Let's see another game. What other games do they have? So there's a whole section here of GeForce RTX 5080 ready games, and then there's these free-to-play games, and then you also have install to play and featured RTX on, Nvidia, Reflex, etc. But these are the ones I'll probably play. Instant play free demos, because although it is a demo, I can still test out how it does in terms of graphical performance and stuff like that. So let's try out this game, Hellpie demo. So as you can see, I've already tried 3 games. So it was the Ghostrunner and then Fortnite, and now this one. All of them seem to have been around 40 people ahead of me, but the queue does go down pretty quickly. So currently we're getting around 56 frames per second, 62. But again, the ping is starting to jump up. And this isn't even a graphically intense game, which doesn't really make that much of a difference, but one thing I will say is, in these kind of games where things are not as fast paced, you don't notice the latency as much. But something like Fortnite, definitely you can notice it straight away. So this game, even with the latency being around 3846, actually plays quite well. But let's try to switch to one more game. Let's try this Loop Monster game. But something to note with the GeForce Now is you do get, I think it's 100 hours a month. I'm not sure if you can get more of that, of gameplay. Which if you're only playing like, I think, what would that be, like 25 hours a week? So even if you're playing a couple hours a day, or even if you just play on the weekends for 12.5 hours on Saturday, 12.5 hours on Sunday, you should still get in between that 100 hours a month.
wasn't the great detective Xiong. Fuck this. Man, that's right. Got one of our watertight.
So you have for different kind of modes for the streaming quality. It's basically a preset for how much data is being used when you're gaming. So data saver is if you don't want to be using too much data, which to be honest, if you don't want to be using too much data, you shouldn't be loading up GeForce Now anyway. You should only really do this on unlimited plans. Then you've got balanced, custom, which you can change all the settings yourself to your liking. Cinematic, I guess that's better for looks. And then competitive, which is done to optimize your streaming settings to give you the best possible or lowest possible latency during gameplay. One thing I can see straight away it does is lower the resolution. But yeah, it gives you all of these options you can choose. And then like I said, for server locations, you have, it selects an automatic one. My one, it selected Sweden because it is the nearest country. Then you've got USA, you've got a bunch of them. So California, Oregon, Arizona, Texas, Illinois, Florida, Georgia, Virginia, etc., etc. 2 of them in United Kingdom. Netherlands, you've got North and South. Germany, you've got 1. France, you've got 2. Poland, 1. Bulgaria, 1. Japan, 1. So if you want to test it out, that's the server locations that are available. You'll probably get a much better connection and a much better gameplay than I have got here. And I honestly think cloud gaming is perfect for any kind of Mac device, just because there isn't many games that are native on Mac OS. And having something like this, if you've got a decent internet connection, you can actually play any game you essentially want, even probably GTA 6 once it comes out. The only thing you'll have to worry about is that 100-hour per month limit when it comes to gaming. So I hope this gave you some sort of insight. Like I said, I know that MacBook Neo can game, whether it be natively or through apps like Crossover, Parallels of these different games, but you won't be doing that for a long time because I can guarantee that the machine is going to start heating up. Because it doesn't have fans, it's going to start throttling the performance and you're just going to turn the game off anyway. At least this way, you can get a decent bit of gaming done before you decide to switch it off. So yeah, if you found this video helpful, remember to subscribe for more MacBook, Apple content, MacBook Neo content, stuff like that down below. Hit that like button and share this with your friends and family or anyone you think would want to know about MacBook Neo gaming. As always, I appreciate watching. Thank you for your support, and I'll catch you on the next one.